intel community to leak reports that Vladimir Putin was personally involved in the U.S. election hack. This after the intelligence community repeatedly determined that Russia was not trying to influence the election by cyber means.
Here with more is DNI Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, thanks for joining us. And some of those individuals were literally the leaders of the intelligence community under President Obama. How significant is these documents that you've released?
Thank you so much, and thanks for focusing on this issue that these documents have really brought to the forefront, because it's one that doesn't just affect Democrats or Republicans. It's not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue with such significant impact that it should concern every American, because it has to do with the fabric and integrity of our democratic republic. That we had a situation here where in the months leading up to the 2016 election, the intelligence community assessed, and this is what the documents detail, the intelligence community assessed essentially Russia doesn't have the tools, the capability, or the intent to try to change the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. Donald Trump pulls off a historic victory against Hillary Clinton in November of 2016. Even in the days after that election, the intelligence...
I stopped it right fast to say this here. You saw the name of my business, Legal Aid Before, and you saw how before was made. That B and the F and the R is capitalized. See? And that is what it is when the logo meaning BFR. B, fast, running, knowing you already won. WON. I'm just saying. Legal Aid Before. Before it was all the lies that don't make no sense. It was the truth that makes sense. To make a change. Because our legal system is being ran by a criminal organization. Our legal system is being ran by a bunch of fucking criminals. Because how can you get any type of justice when the criminals are the ones running the justice system? Peek me out here. Your legal line lawyers who lie for a fucking living never work for me or you. They always work for the fucking judge. And most of the time, they become a judge too. What a fucked up catch-22 to live in. When you don't just have the legal line lawyers squeezing you in the system, you got the practice physician literally practicing on you, practicing on me with pharmaceutical drugs that they get from pharmaceutical companies that they're in bed with. So they don't give a fuck about you and me. All they give a fuck about is the bottom fucking line. And that's making fucking money off of lying. Literally. Making you and me sick. Doctors get paid off of making you and me sick. And that's fucked up to me. It really is. You see, the only one that's really a good doctor is a fucking surgeon. Because a surgeon is really not a doctor. You see? But again, it is what it is. It's just that you gotta realize who's lying to who. You gotta realize the truth that's in you. You have to realize the truth is what it is, all it is, raw creativity. The creator within the creation, you're never alone. Your first breath is your first win. You can never lose until you're taught to be a fucking loser. Literally. Because the transition from the body back to where you come from is you go back to the win with a D on the end. It is what it is. It's just that we all been taught to be stupid. Literally, we all been taught, programmed by just 5 fucked up words that you literally don't need in your vocabulary at all. Make believe, understand, faith, hope. 5 words you don't need in your vocabulary. Because the truth is the truth. Either you know or you don't know. Because the need to know is you need to question any and everything that don't make sense to you. The truth. I'm just saying. Let's finish this.
Community continued their consistent assessment that reflected the same thing in the months leading up to the election. All of a sudden, in the early days of December, there was a President's Daily Brief that was drafted. This is put together by the different elements of the intelligence community that reflected that same assessment. Russia did not try to hack the election, in essence. That PDB, that document, was pulled hours before it was supposed to be published for the president to see that following morning. That document was never published until we released it yesterday. One day later, President Obama calls a meeting of his National Security Council, his top officials, to be held on what they called a sensitive topic.
Okay, the networks are down, the equipment is ready, and we've crippled their supplies. Mrs. Rackman has written our check and given us the green light. We're good to finally move on that submarine and stop this threat once and for all. When you're ready, get your crew together and head back to planning.
Intelligence that detailed not if, but how Russia tried to influence the outcome of the United States election that President Trump won in November of 2016. This document was then used as the foundation for everything that came next. It was essentially a years-long coup that was launched against President Trump before he even had the opportunity to take his oath of office and be sworn in as President of the United States. So, as you know, there was a Mueller investigation that went on for years, cost taxpayers nearly $40 million. There were 2 congressional impeachments. President Trump and almost every member of his family were smeared and attacked, faced lawsuits, depositions. High-level officials were investigated, some were arrested and put in jail. The list goes on and on about the ramifications of this, but foundational to it all was the fact that we had in President Obama and his leadership team people who did not want to accept the will of the American people in electing Donald Trump in 2016, and therefore cooked up this treasonous conspiracy to, again, try to effectively, and they did effectively, launch a years-long coup against the sitting President of the United States.
Director Gabbard, I'm glad you used the word coup. I also, in some of your reports, the word treason has come up. We're seeing a lot of things coming to light these days, and it's very encouraging for Americans, especially this report, which so many of us knew this was a hoax. But this goes all the way to the top. I mean, this goes all the way to Barack Obama. Will we actually see someone as high up as Barack Obama take responsibility, be accountable, maybe face criminal charges? Is that a possibility here based on the documents that you've released?
Rachel, the seriousness of, again, the implications and the consequences of these actions that were taken demand accountability. The American people not only deserve the truth and accountability, when we look at the future of our country as a democratic republic and the American people's ability to have faith that when they go and cast a vote at the ballot box, that the will of the people will be respected by those in government, whether they be Democrats or Republicans, this is literally what is at stake here. So we are referring all of our documents to the Department of Justice for the purpose of accountability and action. No one, no matter who they are, no matter how high up they are or how powerful they may be, no matter who the intelligence officials or professionals were who were part of this treasonous conspiracy, there must be accountability. The truth must be shown to the American people in order to ensure that there is this faith and trust and integrity in our democratic republic for the sake of the future of our country.
So as voters, can we feel confident that we will actually see charges, do you think, out of this?
Should.
I'm not a lawyer. We're referring all of this to the Department of Justice. I know that Attorney General Pam Bondi is committed to bringing about justice to those who have broken the law. And in this case, again, what these documents detail, to me, in my view, cannot be explained as anything but a treasonous conspiracy. This is not so different from what we saw under George W. Bush, when we saw that manufactured intelligence claiming there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq that kicked off a war that changed our country, that changed the lives of so many people like myself who went and served in those wars. The implications of manufactured intelligence are real. I would even say that what we are seeing here has an even greater impact than what we've seen in the past, because it speaks again to the foundation of our Constitution and our democratic republic, which is why accountability is so critical.
Amen to that. We can, and by the way, we cannot weaponize our intelligence community against our enemies, our political enemies. That is wrong, and there are huge consequences. Tulsi, thank you for declassifying this. This is amazing information. Some of us never thought it would come out. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tulsi.
Thank you.
All right.
That's a patriot right there.
I'm Steve Ducey.
And that's fucked up. That's all I can say. That's fucked up.